Information tonight on a story we've been following for you for weeks. There's more trouble news surrounding the abrupt closure to Studs to Rugs in Fargo. The owner, Tim Rosine, is accused of taking people's money and then not finishing the work. Tonight we learned Rosine wasn't paying child support for years. Court documents show ongoing child custody issues after a divorce that was finalized back in 2006. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson joins us in studio. Nicole?
I sat down with Rosine's former wife tonight. She's clearly emotional about the whole situation and doesn't want to talk publicly quite yet for a couple reasons. However, the whole situation is raising other questions, regardless of who you are. What happens when a divorce gets complicated? And how can you protect yourself?
I love this person, and you hate to bring financial issues into that marriage.
Too many people tie the knot without talking about money, property, and business. That's what attorney Joe Irby says.
Marry someone you can trust and you want to be with.
That doesn't always work out as planned. He says signing a prenup is a good idea.
That's probably the best piece of advice you can get, but then again, it's one of those things that, well, nobody really wants to talk about.
Better safe than sorry. Irby says a prenup can limit the amount of money and possessions your husband or wife can take from you. More importantly, it can limit the amount of debt you take on from the other person. That's essential for those with a business or marrying someone with one.
If you take the kid part away from it, any divorce is kind of like dissolving a business or a partnership, you know.
While love might blind you from financial issues, Irby says it's an important conversation to have before you get married. Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
Without a prenup, Minnesota and North Dakota handle divorce differently. North Dakota splits up property and debt, while Minnesota gives each person what they had before the marriage, then splits up the rest. Coming up after weather, we're learning new details on the deadly terror attack this afternoon in New York City. Plus, this Grand Forks woman will be spending 30 years in federal prison. But first, Robert, it was a chilly one out there for those trick-or-treaters. Are we going to see any overnight flakes?
Yeah, chilly and quiet right now. A live look outside on the CorwinAuto.com Valley Skycam, part of the Storm Team Skycam network. Just some cloudy skies right now, but we will see some of those flakes as we head towards the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. Right now, 32 degrees, feels more like 21, some breezy southeast winds at 17 miles per hour. Temperatures elsewhere across the region, a mix of some 20s and 30s, 22 in Badette, 25 in Thief River Falls, 28 in Grand Forks, also 28 in Cavalier. Those winds still on the breezy side out of the southeast. They're going to continue that way as we head through tonight and through at least the first half of your Wednesday. Wind chill wise, the combination of the wind and those temperatures giving us wind chills as cold as 13 in Langdon, 12 in Badette, 17 in Bemidji, also 17 up in the Hallock area. Cloud cover, it's starting to increase across the area. We're going to see a lot of cloud cover overnight tonight and into the day on Wednesday. Underneath those clouds, maybe a few flakes over in Lakes Country and more developing off towards the west. A storm system gathering strength to our west. That's going to give us that chance for some snow. Some of us will see accumulating snow. We'll show that to you in just a minute in the hour-by-hour forecast. Down the Mississippi Valley, some snow up in parts of Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri. Changes over to rain in the warmer air in Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. For us, overnight tonight, Frankenstein dancing to keep warm. As the pumpkin flies out, the snow starts to fly in. As we head through the wee hours of tomorrow morning, a shield of snow develops primarily in the northern half of the valley that will continue to push off towards the north, trying to backbuild and develop over parts of the southern valley. That will continue to pinwheel its way off towards the east and the northeast as we go through time. As that snow ends in the southern valley, it may mix with a little bit of rain. That snow will continue across parts of the northern valley into tomorrow evening, but then quickly dissipate late tomorrow evening. How much snow are we talking about? Best chance for accumulation north of a Devil's Lake, Grand Forks over to Bemidji line, 1 to 3 inches there, and maybe some isolated amounts of 1 to 2 inches over in Lakes Country. Elsewhere, less than an inch. This could change depending on the exact path of that storm. In the morning here in Fargo, looks like a chance for some snow showers. Temperatures in the 20s. By lunchtime, upper 30s with some snow possibly mixed with a little bit of rain. I think most of the snow gets on out of here by 4 o'clock with steady temperatures in the upper 30s. Picture of the day, some bouncing bucks in Lake Sarah in Erskine, Minnesota. Thanks so much to Tyler for sending that in. You can use that as the backdrop to our 7-day forecast. And it looks like a sloppy time of it for your midweek. Northern Valley could see some slick spots up there. Quiet Thursday and Friday. More rain or snow As we head through the weekend, a reminder to turn those clocks back before you head to bed late Saturday or early Sunday. Could be some accumulations of snow over the weekend as well.
That'd be nice. It'd be nice to see a little bit more substantial snow opposed to all this wind that we've been seeing.
Well, we do need precipitation. I think we'll take it, whether it be in the form of rain or snow.
Okay. Thanks, Robert.
You got it.
You just heard the gunshots that rang out in Manhattan earlier today following a terror attack near the World Trade Center Memorial. This is viewer video from a former North Dakota native who was there when the attack happened. A driver who police have now identified as a man from Uzbekistan drove a truck into a busy bicycle path, killing 8 people and injuring more than a dozen others in what investigators described as a deliberate act of terror. Kenneth Craig has the latest from New York City.
We got multiple casualties. This is a mass casualty situation here.
The deadliest terror attack in New York City since 9/11 unfolded Monday in the shadow of the new World Trade Center.
This was an act of terror, and a particularly cowardly act of terror.
Just after 3 p.m., a white pickup truck jumped a curb and drove onto a bike path running alongside the West Side Highway. The vehicle continued south for several blocks, striking more than a dozen people. It came to a halt when it smashed into a school bus at Chambers Street. The driver got out and started to walk across the roadway. Witnesses said he appeared to be heavily armed.
I just saw him walking down the streets there with his gun in his hands.
Police officers confronted the man. They shot him once in the abdomen. The weapons were not real.
The subject was wounded and transported to a local hospital. A paintball gun and a pellet gun were recovered at the scene.
Federal law enforcement source tells CBS News that investigators found a note inside the truck that made reference to ISIS.
The suspect has been identified as Sayfullo Saipov, a 29-year-old Uzbekistan native who lives in Florida. Officials believe he acted alone, and they say there's no evidence this attack was part of a larger plot. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
The victims' identities have not yet been made to the public. A Grand Forks woman was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison for her role in a drug conspiracy and murder that left a 24-year-old man dead. 32-year-old Krystal Feist pleaded guilty to shooting Austin Forsman outside the Flying J truck stop in Grand Forks last year. This resulted in the indictment of 13 people in connection with a meth ring in the Grand Forks area. Feist, along with Modesto Torres, were charged with the murder of Forsman, as well as the drug trafficking conspiracy. Torres is scheduled to be sentenced on December 1st in Fargo. Investigators say an electrical malfunction was likely the cause of a fire that burned down a historic dance barn in Arthur, North Dakota. The barn was engulfed in flames by the time firefighters arrived to the scene just north of town. No one was hurt, but the barn was a total loss. A GoFundMe account has been started to help the owners rebuild. We've got that linked to our story on our website at valleynewslive.com. A Moorhead man was arrested after a search warrant turned up a pound of meth and some other drugs. The Moorhead Police Department says the Lakes to River Drug Task Force executed the warrant last Friday. They seized the meth, marijuana, a variety of pills, and more than $8,000. 72-year-old Robert Smith of Moorhead was arrested and is now being held in the Clay County Jail. Contention in Clearwater County, landowners fighting to prevent officials from draining a lake in Leonard, Minnesota. County officials say high water levels will damage roads surrounding the lake, and the watershed district claims a culvert was illegally raised. So they want to replace the culvert to its original height. The landowners say it could destroy a valuable natural resource their city counts on.
Most of this lake is no more than 3 or 4 feet deep anyways. So if they lower it by 2 feet, there's not much of the lake left.
There are some landowners that are being hurt by the present level of the lake, and the county road, highway number 23 leading out of Leonard here, has had some damage from the present level.
It's unclear if they'll be able to reach a compromise. Technically, the culvert is in the jurisdiction of the Red Lake Watershed District. And if you need help uncovering fraud and corruption in your community, call us on our Whistleblower Hotline. That's 701-237-6576, and then leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth. Executives from social media giants Facebook, Twitter, and Google were called before a Senate subcommittee today to testify about Russian interference in the 2016 election. Facebook says a Russian group called the Internet Research Agency posted more than 80,000 times on Facebook, both before and after the election. 29 million Facebook users directly received Russian content like ads and fake news. And with sharing and resharing, it may have reached as many as 126 million people. Twitter says it suspended more than 2,700 accounts linked to that same group. The companies will return on Wednesday to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee. And tonight in your restaurant report card, we've got 2 restaurants with the same manager who have different outcomes. And one local favorite is working to improve itself. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer has the dish on these establishments.
It's a vibrant restaurant that continues to draw in Bison fans, Labby's Grill and Bar, but they were marked for not clearly labeling expiration dates on food. The restaurant plans to go down a checklist and fix everything on the list. Dolly Down Bar and Grill is also facing 2 critical violations. Both violations are related to not protecting food from potential contaminants. But right around the hall is another restaurant with the same manager. Charlie's Philly Steak is this week's winner of the Clean Plate Award. They follow strict guidelines to maintain a clean kitchen, and their cleanliness, along with great food, continues to bring in customers.
We got a great product, first of all, so it sells itself. A lot of our people are regulars, so they come in every day.
This is the 3rd time in a row that Charlie's Philly Steak has had a clear report. For a restaurant report card, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
And if you'd like to check out the full inspection reports, you can visit our website at valleynewslive.com. North Dakota's Andrew Goodmanson is sharing his story for the first time since he was shot in the Las Vegas attack. Who he credits to saving his life, still ahead tonight.